Downing has made absolutely shocking comments on two of the Jets' key young wide receivers in Malachi Corley and franchise receiver Garrett Wilson, in comments that has Jets fans absolutely fired up, and we're going to have to break all of this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here, and we're going to jump right into things as usual. And if you guys like the content, make sure to subscribe. 18.5 people watching this are subscribed right now, a percent. There's not half a person out there outside of Matt after I cut his likes off because we're only at 18.4% of people subscribed. But let's jump into the video because now Malachi Corley is viewed as a guy who could be a very important piece for the New York Jets down the line. Meanwhile, Garrett Wilson is supposed to be an important piece for the New York Jets today, tomorrow, and many, many days after that, as long as he does not demand a trade in the offseason, which is still very much up in the air. And Todd Downing was asked about both of the key young wide receivers, and he had some interesting comments. First things first, talking about Malachi Corley and being asked why Corley hasn't gotten more reps, he said, first of all, our priority is winning games, not evaluation. Malachi Corley certainly has gone through the season of wanting more opportunities, but I think he's learning to handle that better and more mature ways. So absolutely just bashing Malachi Corley right there. There's no way around it. What he did is essentially said, yeah, well, we're actually focused on winning games right now, considering we're in this amazing spot, being 4-10, 4-11. So what's important right now is that we still try to win games because we don't care about anything else. We don't care about evaluating young talent because the GM who drafted him is gone, and I'm probably gone after this next week anyway. So might as well just not play Malachi Corley, and then also say that in the beginning of the season when he wanted to play and when he wanted to get reps, he was immature about it. I mean, Matt, that's just an absolute bashing of a guy who's supposed to be a future important piece for this team. I hate what Todd Downing said. Jets fans have the right to be fired up. First of all, non-answer on why he hasn't given Corley more reps in a general sense, but then also just goes out of his way to throw some to throw some right at Corley's face, throw it right in Corley's face. It's not like Malachi Corley even asked that question. He just is the one now getting blamed for a question asked about Todd Downing's plans. It's insane to me.
I'm not sure what he's talking about when he says player development is not the priority. How is it not the priority when you're a team eliminated from the playoffs? Why are they winning? It should be something that they're working for, but that shouldn't be the number one priority anymore. Winning games only hurts the New York Jets in the long run. Maybe in the short term, it could increase the culture and bring the locker room a little bit closer together and make guys more confident in themselves. But winning games hurts the Jets because it hurts their draft pick. So I still want to see them win, but the number one thing right now has to be player development. Malachi Corley was a developmental prospect coming out of Western Kentucky. He needed to learn how to run routes, get better hands, and apparently it looks like he also needs to grow up and be a pro and be more mature, but he needs to get on the field and get live game reps to actually be able to develop. We need our young guys developed. That's the only way to get anything out of a lost season like this. Malachi Corley already dropped the ball on the goal line once. Have to imagine he's not going to make that mistake again. If we put him on the field for these two games, he gets more opportunities like that where he can make mistakes and then learn from them. I'd rather see him make mistakes this year when the playoffs are not a possibility than make mistakes next year. Also, going to those maturity comments, we've seen comments just like that coming out of the Cincinnati Bengals, one of their rookie wide receivers, Jermaine Burton. They were also talking about maturity issues with him, about he was running his own routes at practice, missing team meetings, sleeping through team meetings. I'm really hoping that's not the type of maturity issues that we're having with Malachi Corley. We haven't heard reports about that, but when you're talking about maturity issues, what else could they be? Part of becoming a rookie and going from college to the professional level is you have to learn how to be a pro. You have to understand how to handle yourself when there's more responsibilities, there's more money, there's more distractions. You have to understand how to be a pro as well. Maybe Malachi Corley has not fully grasped how to be a pro yet. That would certainly make it more understandable why he's had so much difficulty getting onto the field, because a lot of NFL scouts and a lot of NFL people, including the Joe Douglas and the New York Jets, believe that he was a talented prospect and he deserves to be drafted high in the NFL draft, and those guys are supposed to play on the field. So when he's not getting on the field and he's not playing well in practice, a lot of the times there's something else going on behind the scenes. So Maturity issues, I really hope they can pick this type of stuff up. We don't want to see him bust. Maybe, you know what? I'm just going to let you take over from here.
Well, that's one way to put it. You don't want to see a bust, but
it's not Joe Burrow, so yeah, we don't want to see that.
An inside joke that nobody watching this is gonna understand. Malachi Corley on the season has one more reception than he does numbers worn this season, and has 5.3 yards per reception. His numbers are not great. 8 games played, but he's hardly really gotten the chance to perform. Obviously, he did have that touchdown against the Texans that wasn't actually a touchdown.
Yeah, it was almost a touchdown.
He dropped the ball a tiny bit early, and I do think part of what's going on is Todd Downing being upset about that, and it's right to be upset about that, but you kind of have to let that one go at some point. Look, I want to see Malachi Corley out there. If he's not performing great in practice or not being mature enough, yeah, that's not good, but at this point, dude, what else are the Jets playing for? They drafted this guy in the 3rd round. I want to see him on the field. I don't care if he has maturity issues. Maybe he'll be more mature if he's out there on the field. Maybe him getting his wish. I know it's not great when you give an immature player exactly what they want, but at the same time, maybe if you give him reps, let him get on the field, everything will sort of fall into place for him. He probably just really wants to play, and it's irking him that he can't, and maybe he's just taking it out the wrong way, which I'm not excusing. I'm just saying that if he gets on the field, maybe his mindset will change. And if he's still giving you issues, then that's a problem. But at the same time, the best bet is to just let this guy show what he's got. And it's probably really frustrating. When you're picked in the 3rd round, you're expecting to be like a wide receiver 3 or 4 a lot of the time. This guy's like at the back end of the Jets wide receiving depth chart, and it doesn't make sense to me. I would way rather see Malachi Corley out there than literally anyone other than Garrett Wilson. That includes Davante Adams for the sheer fact that I want Davante and Aaron Rodgers back next season, but also whatever Davante does against the Dolphins is not going to change anything for me personally. It's cool to see Davante Adams in a Jets jersey, but I'd rather see something that affects the long-term future a little bit more than anything else personally.
So for fantasy football implications, I do need Davante Adams to play this week, but week 18, he can do whatever he wants. Malachi Corley, you put him in as a wide receiver 3 for these next 2 weeks. The worst case scenario is he gets a bunch of holding penalties, he drops some passes, and, he pretty much turns into Allen Lazard.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, that's, like, the big fear. So, I honestly hope Davante Adams doesn't play well so you lose in fantasy football. I'm just kidding. I don't hope that.
I can't lose. Oh,
okay.
It's a $3 buy-in. I already made $60. I can't lose. I can only win. So Matt, you can't get your wish.
All right, fine. I almost hit everything off when I tried to turn this around, and all I could think about was when we were on Nick's Digest on Happy Hour last week, and someone comments, imagine if Chris Gallagher had memorabilia of not everybody's favorite Germans in his house. But no. In all seriousness, I do think Malachi Corley, I mean, what are you going to do? If they draft a wide receiver early, it feels like they're just totally going to be ready to throw Malachi Corley away like he's yesterday's news. No team would trade anything valuable for a 3rd-round pick who did absolutely nothing all season because he wasn't allowed to play. It makes no sense. I would love to see Corley get more touches. I mean, Allen Lazard has no purpose on this New York Jets team right now. I don't see the points. And if Corley's another Allen Lazard, then so be it. But I'd rather see a younger guy who's playing like Allen Lazard than Allen Lazard playing like Allen Lazard, because at the end of the day, Corley might improve. I mean, look, he's got the tools to become a Deebo Samuel-esque player. It's just a matter of if he can hit it. But also, we do have to talk about Garrett Wilson, the other guy brought up by Todd Downing, everybody's favorite wide receiver in New York. Garrett Wilson was mentioned by Todd Downing that when we only score 9 points, we got to look at ways to get our playmakers the ball more. I feel like it's been a balanced job, that we've done a pretty decent job throughout the course of the year, and obviously we want to get our guys involved as much as we can. First of all, Todd, you guys have not done a good job. If you guys did a good job, the Jets wouldn't have 4 wins this season, so shut up.
Certainly, and Garrett Wilson should have more targets. Maybe he's looking at the whole targets as a season and saying that they're pretty even, because Garrett Wilson started the year with a ton of targets, and the offense, that was what we were looking for from Garrett Wilson. But then ever since Devontae Adams has gotten here and gotten up to speed with the Jets, Aaron Rodgers has gone back into his old ways of, oh, he's my favorite receiver ever to throw to, so I'm going to throw to him a bunch. It's not translating to wins, though, so not super excited about that. Maybe for next year, if both guys are back, which if Aaron Rodgers is back with the Jets, you have to imagine Devontae Adams will be right there next to him because they're going to at least convince each other that the Jets will be better off with them together. And they're going to want to make up for this year, which has been horrible. And they want to prove to everyone that they can turn the Jets around. So that's something I'm rooting for. We need Garrett Wilson to get enough targets over these next 2 games to make it so where he doesn't demand the trade in the offseason. Because if he does demand the trade, out of respect, you have to trade him. He deserves so much better than the Jets right now.
He does. So I do hope the Jets can target him and show him that they want him there and they want to win with him. And if Rodgers and Devontae come back next year, I mean, yeah, it'll be good, but Rodgers is going to have to find a way to use both the weapons that he has instead of just consistently using the one weapon. As you said, Rodgers and Devontae has not been resulting in wins this season. When you have 2 elite wide receivers on the team and you start to use both of them, it's going to open up the field a lot more. So I do hope the Jets can do that. I hope they can get it all done because I do want to see New York Jets winning football, and I still believe that could happen in our lifetimes. But at the end of the day, guys, it hasn't yet. Now, in all seriousness, I do think that Rodgers is going to have to target Garrett Wilson more. And the Jets, it's not on Wilson. It's on Rodgers having to look both ways and also just Todd Downing having to call more plays for Garrett. That's what it ultimately has to come back to. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I want to see more plays, more design wide receiver screens. Chris, have you seen the play this year where they pull a bunch of offensive linemen and then throw a screen pass but to a wide receiver instead of a running back? I love that play. It's my favorite play that I've seen this year. We got to run that to Garrett Wilson, get him the ball. We got to turn him into our version of Rashee Rice, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's more talented than both of those guys, so he can absolutely do something like that. We got to get him a ton of targets the way the Lions fed Amon-Ra St. Brown earlier in his career. And Garrett Wilson should be a superstar wide receiver for the Jets. Hopefully not anyone else ever.
I agree. But guys, what do you think down below? Or comment what you think down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. The way I've been talking and hitting the wrong buttons, I'm clearly a little rusty right now. It's been a few days. But we're back. Guys, make sure to subscribe, like the video, post notifications. Have a great day, and go Jets.